father. What I learned is maybe if I stayed home in New York and married an Italian girl, I could stay my father and I could be that kind of guy he was. But I didn't do that. I came to L.A. I met a wonderful woman who's not Italian. She's Portuguese, which is a whole other thing to deal with, trust me. But my little kids are not, they're very sensitive kids. They don't like loud noises. They don't like a man who's very opinionated. So this book is almost me putting my father down to bed, and it's putting me, it's putting that part of me who always wanted to be my dad to rest as well. Because my father's characteristics worked for many, many years. But I think now the part of him that has to continue in me is the compassionate side and the side that solves problems and takes care of people. And that's what I aim to do. But my red-blooded Sicilian junk in my body is now not boiling anymore. It's kind of on simmer, and I got to leave it there for the benefit of everybody around me.
Who makes the sauce, AJ?
Oh, I do that.
Of course. By the way, the back of the book, there's a picture. I assume it's your dad, you, and who's the person on the left?
That's my cousin.
That's your cousin.
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect snapshot, and I really think it is absolutely the only snapshot of the three of us that I could find, that my cousin could find. And when we started talking about this, that's it. I mean, I know the picture, so it was perfect. And then when Simon & Schuster came out with that cover, they just asked me for ideas, and I as they started reading the book, they felt it had an Instagram kind of vintage feel, and they found this stock photo of a man and a little boy by the water of a beach or a lake, and I mean, it is the spitting image of me from behind. It was so eerie when I got the cover. And they showed me the artwork for the cover. I really knew, man, I have to write something really special because I have to match this cover. That's how beautiful it was to me.
Well, AJ, you're looking more and more like your dad. I mean, I look at the picture, I'm like, whoa. And then I see the inside picture of you, and I'm like, oh, well, AJ has a little more hair. That's maybe about it.
Let me tell you, I know, but when my cousin and I speak on Facebook, and you see our pictures back and forth. It's so eerie and so emotional. He looks just like his dad, and I look a lot like mine. So when you see our faces speaking on Facebook together, it's haunting. It's Uncle Larry and Uncle Al are back. Even the way we lean in our pictures, even the way our affectations, our mannerisms, our gestures, it's all our old man's. And then to really get emotional, my son has those same mannerisms, and my daughter looks like my sister, who looks like my grandmother. So, I mean, this book to me, I really mean this. I could die tomorrow and feel like I did it. Like, I really don't know what to do next, because whatever I do next, I'll enjoy. The next book I write, I'll have a fun time doing it. I'll probably write it standing up. I mean, it'll be that. It won't nearly come to the difficulty I had with this one, the beautiful difficulty. So for all I'm concerned with, listen, I could die tomorrow and I'd be happy with what I laid out there. I'm done. I'm done with having to get out of my blood what I had to get out. I did it. Thank you. Good night.
That's always one of the most difficult things for a writer is when you have a subject that you know is so worthy and wanting to do it justice. And it's a really difficult thing, because just about every writer I know is never satisfied with what they do. But I mean, I can tell you did this justice. This book is outstanding.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. There's a couple of things obviously I would change. I think I came off a little hard on my aunt in a chapter, and there's actually a sentence in there that I wish I didn't put in there, and I'm not going to get into it, but it didn't advance the story. And I think it upset my cousin, and it actually upsets me. And I think on the second printing, I'm gonna get rid of that. That's just a personal note from me to whomever's listening. But other than that, look, when I gave it to my sisters, they cried immediately, which is the reaction I was looking for. My brother-in-law, who's now 70, who regards the 1970s as the best times of our lives, he read the first 2 or 3 chapters and said, I can't read anymore. I can't go back there and revisit it, because nothing was ever better than those days. And so to me, when I think many years ago, I might have told Tim, but I told a lot of people, geez, I told everybody what I thought back then. But I always said that when writers write, we really write for what I call the front row. There are people in the front row of your life, and the front row changes. You know, sometimes people leave a seat and go to the bathroom and never come back, maybe, or, you know, someone else sits on someone's lap. But basically, the front row is maybe 15 or 20 people in your life. And if you write a book for those 15 or 20 people and you know you really hit the right chords in them, then you did it, man. I don't care what the back row thinks. I don't care what the mezzanine thinks. The front row digs it. The front row knows I nailed it. And that's all I need to know.
Exactly.
We're talking with AJ Benza. He is the author of 74 and Sunny, published by Simon & Schuster. He will be at the book review this coming Wednesday, August 26th at 7 p.m., doing autograph signing, reading from the book, taking questions. And he'll be in his home turf of Long Island, so I'm sure it's going to be pretty crowded.
Hey, what's the weather going to be like this week? I mean, I know it's late August in Manhattan. I can imagine
it's supposed to be warm. It's supposed to be warm.
Yeah, Wednesday's supposed to be good. It's supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow.
All right,
but Wednesday is supposed to be good.
I'm getting off the plane on a red-eye Wednesday morning at 6, going right to Good Day, New York, to talk to Rosanna Scotto and Greg Kelly.
All right.
Tell Rosanna to bring you some food.
I love her. Yeah, she's great. Rosanna's great. I'm interested in seeing them, and then I'm going to be at the book review, and then I think I'm doing Fox during the week. There are still things up in the air, but you know, I've been loving talking recently on a lot. I've done a lot of LA radio and a lot of LA stuff, and I've been talking about Trump forever, endlessly, because him and I are kind of tied together forever.
I was going to bring that up at some point.
You can bring it up.
Talk about your relationship with the
future president,
with the infamous presidential candidate.
Well, listen. First of all, I hope he's president. I really do. I find the guy crazily amusing. But you know, in the '90s, I was dating a beautiful model named Kari Young. It was, you know, she was my everything, and I was called to LA for a TV show. I had to leave New York, and I knew if I left, man, the wolves in New York would come after it. For people who don't understand this, these are guys who have millions of dollars and billions of dollars, and if they want something, they go get it. And Donald Trump took a run at it when I was gone, and when I left for LA, I wasn't a Boy Scout. Let me pay that off the top. And my ex-girlfriend succumbed to Donald's advances, and they had their thing, and then I would be back with her, and he was off with someone else. Then it went on like that for a year or so, and we ended up all. Look, I'm still friends with Cara. I love her to this day. She's one of my best friends, if not my best female friend. My kids and I and my wife go to her house upstate New York for a week in the summer. Our kids. Our little boys play together. It's Donald's married with another kid. Cara's remarried to another billionaire, by the way. I mean, everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. I'm just this humble guy who, you know, happened to get involved with him. But yeah, man, it was a crazy time. But now I talked to Donald last week or a week and a half ago. I called him and I said, listen, a lot of people are asking me to talk about you and me and her and you're going through this presidential stuff. I said, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to take care of you because I like you, and I like what you're talking about. And AJ, you know, you're a winner. You're a huge guy. And I said, wait a minute. You called me a loser.
I was going to say.
yeah, you told me I was a loser. Not anymore. I heard you're doing great. Hey, I heard your wife's really beautiful. I said, yeah, hands off. And so now I'm a winner, and how do I... But I'll tell you, I don't know what to make of the guy. I called them last week, and I said, hey, I want to wear a Make America Great Again hat. I want to wear a hat on TV. And his assistant said, oh, that's fantastic. I'll get Donald on it. We'll get a hat to you. And then I called back an hour later with the address to send it, and they're not picking up the phone anymore for me. So I don't know if he doesn't want me wearing his hat. Only he can wear his hat, or I don't know if I fell out of his grace again. I don't know what's going on. He's a difficult guy to read, but he's amusing to watch. I really, truly hope he wins because then I know I'll have a Secret Service detail on me because I threatened to kill him 12, 13 years ago. So there's going to be a file on me an inch thick at the White House.
That's something
and what
to be
an honor
proud
that
of.
would be, yeah.
either that or I'll get to sleep in a Lincoln bedroom one day. That'd be fun.
Now, AJ, for those who don't know out there, AJ and Tim started together at Newsday 100 years ago.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Any embarrassing stories about my brother I should know?
Oh, thanks.
You know, you were hanging out with him for a while. You know, I'm his brother. I need some information.
Tim Tim, well, you're his brother, but Tim's one of those sneaky good guys. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He's sneaky good, which is a lot of writers adopt this kind of position. They don't get in the front of things. They kind of stay to the side, to the back, and they listen intently to everything. They don't forget a detail, and they can probably regurgitate every fact that you ever brought up in your life when they were near you. He's that guy. He doesn't go bulldog on you. He sits back, which, looking back on our lives, how it all transpired, I think I'm exactly the guy he turned out to be, and I think Tim is exactly the writer and sports writer he turned out to be, or radio, whatever you want to call it. I think don't you think, Tim, we all turned out the way we should have turned out?
Pretty much. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about that. I mean, personalities.
Greg Sarah's finally full time. That's what he wanted more than anything.
Exactly.
He did it. I wanted to be, I don't want to say a star. I wanted to be known. I wanted to be out there in New York. And you and I and Bobby Cassidy, I took you to the John Gotti trial because I used to work with John Gotti in the 80s. And I remember there came a moment. Here's a defining moment, Rob. Okay, we go to New York City to see the John Gotti trial in the 80s when he was a Teflon Don and beating everything.
Right.
And we go get our suits on. We go in the city, and
we did.
Here comes John Gotti walking down the hallway with a gray Brioni suit. I could smell the cologne 20 feet before he got to us, and his hair was almost light purple, like a lavender color. It was just awesome, the power he was emitting. And he goes and he punches the elevator button, him and his boys, Sammy the Bull, his lawyer, Bruce Cutler, and Bobby Cassidy, myself, and Tim are standing there. The door opens, and I look at her. We look at each other. I go in the elevator with Gotti and his gang, and Tim and Bobby are like, "We'll meet you upstairs." I'm not going in that elevator, man. And then we met in the elevator, and then we met upstairs, and But I think that's a very defining moment. I'm the guy that, and I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm better in any way, but it's just like I go to the trouble or whatever it is. I could have been killed in that elevator. I don't know, but I like to get in there. Whereas Tim and Bobby, whoever doesn't know Bobby Cassidy, is a great, wonderful sports writer, boxing guy. They're great observers of what's going on around them, and that's what Tim does to this day.
I'm trying to get Timmy to write a book, but he keeps saying my ideas are horrible.
What do you mean? You got to write. What do you mean? What's your idea?
Well, I'll tell you off mic because I don't want to give it away. Every time I bring it up to Tim, and actually during this time, you might actually have a view in this. After the show is over, hang on the phone. I'll ask you in front of my brother because I think it's a great idea. By the way, we're running out of time. AJ Benza, of course, with us. He is the author of 74 and Sunny, published by Simon & Schuster. This Wednesday, book review, August 26th, 7 p.m. AJ will be there signing books, reading, and taking your questions.
I want to say one more thing before I go. For anybody out there that's writing or thinking of writing and it has to one day sit across the table from an agent and pitch an idea. When I talked to my agent in Los Angeles 4 years ago, I pitched him a novel. And the novel I had in my head the title was Paris Hilton is Finally Dead, a love story. And I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And he said, no, that's awful. What else? And he said, what else you got? And let me tell you, that's when you hear what else you got, so many great things have happened to people, whether you're an actor or a writer or whatever. Once you hear what else you got, make sure you have something else to give that person who's in a position of power, because I don't know if my book will live on in infamy, but it's the book I needed to write, and I'm very proud of it. If he didn't say what else you got, I'm not sure it would have come out of me. If Sylvester Stallone didn't hear what else you got at an audition, he wouldn't have said, I'm thinking about this, writing about a story about a boxer. I mean, that's a lot of things come from what else you got. So make sure you have something behind the great idea you think you have, which can be shot down in a second.
Yeah, always good to have something in the back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely.
AJ, one question I want to ask you before we let you go here. I'm really curious to know what your cousin had to say when you told him you wanted to write about this summer and put this into a book. And I'm also wondering now that the book is obviously doing very well. I mean, you can talk about what the sales are, and I know you're in number one on Amazon, but I mean I'm curious what he had to say and what's his reaction now that the book has been so successful.
I honestly don't know what sales are. I don't.